The Sterling Pro Football Net Point Power Rankings for NFL Week 8, 2021. All right. Again, I love the symmetry. We're going to talk about these teams in a little bit in the next slide. We have the actual charts, so you can see there. You see my Niners coming in at 20. Looking like they're still on the positive side, but we'll have to see. It's one of those things that you know, it's not always a 16-16 split. Somehow, I think it's because of the buys. You know, you have maybe 7 teams or whatever that are actually in the positive. Congratulations to Buffalo for that #1 spot, Arizona for the #2 spot, and the LA Rams for the #3 spot. Let's go to turnover differential. Yeah. The #1 spot. Your buddies, the Buffalo Bills at +1.9. Again, turnover differential, the difference between giveaways and takeaways for all 32 teams. This is one of the stats that can be both positive and negative. And it is the plus and the bias plus when we look at the matchups. So there you got it in front of you, Ben. I'm just going to talk about the top 5: Buffalo, Indianapolis, New Orleans, Green Bay, and the LA Rams round out the top 5 in turnover differential. Bottom 5 is Jacksonville Jets, Kansas City, there you go, San Francisco, and Atlanta.
So before we even look at the other categories, points for and points against, we can pretty much see why Kansas City is having so much trouble. If you turn the ball over more than you take it away, you're going to be hard-pressed to win games. And they are hard-pressed to win games right now, really struggling in some games, even though they've won them, because they can't hold on to the ball, especially Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I'm going to keep talking about it because people have been beating me over the head with him since he won a Super Bowl and then made it back to another one. But in that second one, when he lost, I saw something, and it's beginning to fester. They are in 30th place in turnover differential. By the same token, Indianapolis Colts sitting at #2. I would have been scratching my head after watching Wentz play this past week until I found out that up to that point, he had only thrown 1 interception.
Yeah.
Right. And the Colts
praising him, you know, like, you know, it looked like the change was doing him good, and you know, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I think it is. I think he's still Carson Wentz. Like, he still plays hero ball sometimes, and that's what gets him in trouble. It got him in trouble in Philly, and it'll get him in trouble here too. They just have to take the sack. Sometimes you got to take the sack. He pitches that ball. Guy picks it and runs it in for 6, right? If he takes the sack, it's a safety. That's 2. I'm just saying.
I don't remember the down and distance and everything, but you know, you got to have a pretty crisp passing game if you're doing it out of your own end zone like that. And crispness is not necessarily a word that I put with Carson Wentz's passing game.
I believe they were attempting to set up a screen pass to the tight end, and the defense read it and kind of blew it up, which made him pull it back down and then go, "Oh, I don't get sacked." Oh, sorry, left hand.
Well, I'll be quite honest with you.
That's a brain fart. That's a Trubisky.
I don't know if as a coach, an offensive coach, I would be calling screen passes in my own end zone either.
Me neither. I agree with you 100%. I agree 100%.
You know, you don't make it hard on Carson. He has the Trubisky gene. Sterling Pro Football Net Point Power Rankings. Let's talk about points against this and finishing up in week 8. Ben, do you recognize the #1 team there? This is another category that they're carrying that #1 spot. Buffalo Bills only giving up 15.6 points per game.
That's actually excellent.
It's absolutely half what Detroit's given up at number 32 at 30, and let's add Houston in there. But long story short, yeah, less than 16 points a game. Denver's number 2 at 17, pretty much tied with Arizona at 17, 0.1 and 0.2 respectively. New Orleans 18.3. New Orleans, okay, New Orleans. It's like their ascendancy here is crazy. And then Carolina, 19 under 20 points a game. So,
that's a little skew.
Skew.
Carolina's living off them 3 easy wins they had at the beginning of the season.
Oh,
that's up there.
The skew is in, eh?
Yeah. I'm not respecting Carolina right now. Well, let me put it this way. The only part of Carolina's team I actually do respect right now is the defense. They're not terrible, but they're not nearly as good as they seemed to be at the beginning of the season. New Orleans, on the other hand,
you saying they're worse than their numbers show, eh? Because of the skew.
Yes. Well, they're unreliable. They're unreliable. When they play the better teams, and I don't necessarily mean the top teams, when they play the better teams, they're going to struggle. Number one, because they're not quite as good as these numbers show. And number two, because their offense is struggling. So, Carolina, you'll see them drop. The Saints are vicious against the run. Vicious against the run. You got to throw the ball if you want to have any chance against New Orleans. Everybody should know that now. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to that 18.3. Arizona's been nice. Somehow, some way, Denver, just every game is like a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of the Denver thing being in second place. That's kind of crazy. I have to do more research on that one. I believe Cincinnati will rise. I believe Pittsburgh will rise. I believe the New England Patriots will definitely rise.
Well, you just went into the bank of the 20 points against crew there. That's a neighborhood.
Yeah, that's my edge right there.
New England and Green Bay all giving up basically 20 points a game.
Yeah, that's my edge right. I stopped there.
The LA Rams are down at number 10. I was a little surprised that they were that low. I mean, they're in the top 10, but still in all. Well, actually, they're 11. I don't know. This number thing keeps messing up, and I have to find out why. But it'll repeat a number, like it says 3 twice there. So,
right. So that actually means they're 11th.
Well, no, actually, they're still in the same place, but the numbers just look kind of funky. There's a 4 missing. Everything else.
Oh, right. New Orleans should be 4. Okay, I get it.
But they round out the top 10. But you figure, okay, you're telling me that New England's defense, Green Bay's defense, is better than the Rams. I'm just a little surprised. And then
on paper, no. On paper, no. In reality, yes. Sometimes, tell you the truth, sometimes the Rams score too darn fast.
That could be too. We know that could be a problem. One of those yin yang things, isn't it?
Yes. And what happens is they score fast, which gives the other teams maybe another extra possession or two during the course of the whole game that they normally wouldn't get. Also, they ring up big numbers. Matt sits down and then they play prevent defense, which all prevent defense does is prevent you from stopping the other team. And then they rack up garbage time numbers on them. So those are garbage time numbers. I'm not going to worry about that.
It's Dallas at 16. Again, much improved from last year where they were basically pretty much last. Mm-hmm. So much improved. Yep. Then you have the bottom half, starting with Baltimore, with the Ravens, giving up 23.4 points a game. Vegas, 23.7. And then down from there to Detroit at 30.5. Again, I remind people, you can come to the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings Facebook page. All these charts will be there, and you can take a closer look and see where your team comes in. All right. Points 4. All right. Look who's number 1.
Oh, wow. Again.
Again. So you know if they're number one in points for and points against, you know where they're going to be in the next shot for net points. It just adds up. That's just basic math. I will have to give it again to the Buffalo Bills. Tampa Bay, number 2. Dallas Cowboys, number 3. And that's even after having Cooper Rush start for them in their last game. So those numbers include some Cooper Rush production. Arizona at 4. Now we're talking Arizona at 30.8 points per game, just a tad. But look at that, and let me tell you something. This looks like the NFC West right here in terms of real playoff potential. I love my Niners. I just don't know if we have the matchups and personnel wise. When we come up against a Cooper Kupp, do we have really anybody on defense that's going to really be able to match up with that guy? Long story short, the Rams, Tennessee coming in at 28.4, Cincinnati 27.6, Baltimore, and there's your Kansas City Chiefs. They're still scoring in the top 10 at 26 points per game, and I'll just say it's very interesting. We talked about the New England defense. Did we really talk about the New England defense, man? I'm just take a step back.
A little bit. Yes.
Where were they at?
Number 8.
Okay. All right. We say that top 8 is where we're looking for those playoff contenders from. And here they are just below the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of scoring at 25.8 points per game.
Not bad for a game manager quarterback.
Hey, look, let me tell you something. I think he went. Some people are still talking about the Niners should have taken Mac Jones.
Oh, geez.
It's amazing that they're saying that because he's having success, but he's having success in New England, not in San Francisco. It's different. You got to give that coach their due. You got anything for the scorers here?
Gee whiz. Buffalo, not surprised. Tampa, not surprised. Dallas, not surprised. Arizona fell on a little bit of some rockiness there. Kyler Murray's taking some pretty bad hits. I think they got a bye week coming up. They're going to have to get him healthy for the stretch run. Rams are cruising along very nicely. Tennessee without Derrick Henry is going to be extremely interesting to watch. Tannehill's going to have to really turn it up. Julio's got to get his lazy behind off the bench and get healthy because A.J. Brown can't do it by himself, and they don't really have a dynamic player at tight end. It's going to be very interesting to see who turns out to be the number 1 running back there. It could be Jeremy McNichols, who's the backup, who's really more of a pass-catching back. And there's a possibility that it could be AD. Adrian Peterson is coming back. He's on the Titans practice squad right now, getting himself together, learning the plays and all that. And we'll see how long it takes before they make him active. Since we normally talk about the top 8 as far as being contenders is concerned, I believe Cincinnati will stay up in there. I believe Baltimore, coming off of their bye week, is ready to make another run. So we'll see.
All right.
Kind of crazy because you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, top 8's 4 AFC and 4 NFC. Okay. All right. Interesting.
Interesting split. Even right down the middle, eh?
Yep.
So here's the other half of the bias plus. We utilize the net points and the turnover differential as the 2 main factors when we're doing our matchup analysis. And as predicted, look who's number 1, the Buffalo Bills. Again, if you're number 1 in points against and in points for, then there's the math for it. It's going to come up net points as number 1. Arizona's number 2. Buffalo at net point 17.1. Again, this is one of those stats where you can be both positive and negative. On the polar opposite end, you have your Houston Texans at minus 15.2 points per game. So that's saying on average, they're losing by a little over 2 touchdowns on a per game basis. So staying on the left, where we're pretty much all positive. Actually, as I said to you, Ben, it's positive down to what? Number 19? Cleveland's just holding up the positive side at plus 0.4. That's not a great win average. Carolina and Minnesota. We're going to talk a little bit about our boy Kirk Cousins, Ben. We put up an article on the Ben and Barry on Facebook page on Ben and Barry on football. Philadelphia, number 16, holding up the top half there. So you have Buffalo, Arizona, the Rams, Tampa Bay, and Dallas as your top 5, ranging from net points 17 down to net points plus 9. And Rams, Tampa Bay, and Dallas are all in that 9 range. So there you got your net point power group.
Right off the bat, top 5 teams, top 5 quarterbacks.
Okay. All right.
These top 5 teams have the 5 best quarterbacks playing right now. People can go, oh, nah, how can you say Dak is better than Lamar? How can you say, nah, I don't want to hear it. Playing right now, results in from week 1 to this point that we're talking right here, right now. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, Tom Brady, and Dak Prescott are the 5 top quarterbacks in the league right now. And they're putting up the numbers to prove it.
Well, again, we look at the top 8, so we'll expand it down. You have the Bengals. Their quarterback is pretty good. New Orleans, big quarterback question now. We'll talk about that in the Bias Plus report. And rounding out the top 8, those New England Patriots. I'm just intrigued by New England, Ben. Even when you talked about N'Keal Harry, now all of a sudden he wants to stay, right? This is a great place to be.
Yeah. Whoopie-doo, N'Keal Harry.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We're also going to talk a little later in the comments section about the LA Raiders and the second blow that they took to their psyche with the Ruggs situation, which is just devastating. I'm devastated for the person who died in the wreck, but I'm also devastated that Henry Ruggs did that to himself and his career. You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that in the comments section. But wrapping up net points, anything further?
No, everything looks pretty good right now as far as I think all the offensive skews have been eliminated and people are falling, or teams are falling into place pretty much where they belong. Again,
I don't know, Ben. I think Philadelphia's got some skew going on right about now.
Why? Over the Detroit game?
What did they put 41 points up on Detroit?
Yeah.
Rams, I can see them putting up 41 on somebody. They did 38. I think they stuck to the 38 thing, but that was a big win in Philadelphia. Let me see. And
it remains to be seen if that becomes a skew, because we usually talk about the skew when we say somebody is someplace where they don't necessarily belong. So we'll see how long that holds up and keeps them where they are. But that's one blowout game. They had one other blowout game in week 1, and every other game they've been getting their behinds kicked or losing on something goofy. So
they went, Ben, in week 7 from net points minus 3.7 and a 23 ranking to plus 1.5 and ranked on 16 in 1 week.
Okay.
So
we'll see how long that holds.
Well, yeah, that's why it's a skew, because I don't expect it to hold. We shall see. All right. That wraps up the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings portion of the show. Next up, the Bias Plus reports.